Grand Solar Flash Update for December 27th. ETs tell me you will receive major energy shift. And something huge is coming for Earth in 2025. As always, in order to best understand what is going on in our world, my suggestion is to question your reality and then change it. Please show up tomorrow, Saturday, every Wednesday and Saturday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I take you through a live guided interdimensional meditation to activate the Ascension event and to destroy the dark forces. If you like these videos, I strongly encourage you to go to the website thunderwizard.com, where you will find energy practices that are more powerful than anything else that you can find. They will help you to shift up to a higher level of awakening. You can either subscribe at various levels, or you can go to the shop and find practices and teachings and videos. If you want to support me directly, you can go to support.thunderwizard.com, follow the instructions. All right, so I'm going to share with you the most recent messages that I've been receiving about what is coming very soon. So, look, it's just what's happening is, you couldn't write it in a science fiction movie. Just think about it. I mean, you've been, probably if you're watching this, you've been on this channel for a while. But, 2.5 years ago, I decided I was going to try Dr. Stephen Greer's human-initiated contact with extraterrestrials. I thought it was nonsense, but I gave it a try. And as you know, I've been in direct contact with higher dimensional beings, extraterrestrials, as well as beings from other dimensions on a daily basis for 2.5 years. And even though I had heard from Dr. Greer that there was going to be what people are experiencing now, and the Project BB, all of that I had heard about, and I believed that it was going to happen, but I didn't know when. And to be honest, what I've been experiencing for the past 2.5 years has been so incongruous with third dimensional reality that it's very easy to doubt yourself. If you're having these kinds of experiences, you most likely have gone through periods where you wonder if you're crazy, are you making it up? And then you start to see what is happening. I mean, again, we've got the Pentagon for years. For the past, 2, 3, 4 years, the Pentagon has been trying to convince us that extraterrestrials exist and they are a potential threat. We have been hearing about all of these UAPs, the Tic Tacs and other things that, again, the Pentagon wants you to believe are not made by humans. And then we get what we've been experiencing for the past month, which is all of these drones. And now I'm not saying this, I'm just telling you what I hear people saying from all different places, is that a lot of people are coming to this conclusion that the drones are military drones that are being released to follow and check out these plasmoids, what people are calling UFOs. Obviously, they mean to say these are extraterrestrial aircraft. Some people believe they're from other dimensions. And so we have this scenario building where many people seem to think that there is a potential extraterrestrial invasion on Earth. I don't have any proof for that one way or the other. I only know what I see on YouTube and TikTok and X and everything else. But the point I'm trying to make is, what a crazy world we're living in. This was absolutely unheard of. Just 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was completely unheard of. If you would have come to me 10 years ago and said, hey, guess what? The Pentagon and the mainstream media are going to try and convince you that extraterrestrials exist and they've been visiting planet Earth and they're potentially a threat, I would have said, there's no way the government or the Pentagon is going to do this. There's just no reality where that could happen. And look at what's going on. So this means that something huge is changing. And I was trying to figure out what kind of video I wanted to make today. And maybe I'll make this video that I'm going to talk about. But I was going through my mind the massive shift in my own perception of reality since 2.5 years ago. I mean, forget about all the completely bizarre, mind-bending psychedelic experiences, by the way, without any psychedelics. Just interacting with extraterrestrials releases huge amounts of DMT. I mean, don't believe me? Do CE5, you'll find out yourself. Take all that aside, what I now know about how our universe works, how consciousness works, how incarnation works, what the earth is. I mean, all of that has completely, totally, utterly transformed. And, I do not, I say this almost on a daily basis. I'll be walking through my house and I'll hear myself say something along the lines of, reality is absolutely nothing like I thought it was. I could not have even begun to fantasize what is happening. I couldn't have been able to do that. By the way, this is how I know when somebody is telling the truth, or either they are deluded, making things up, or lying. Because the true reality beyond the third dimension is nothing any human in their normal third dimensional mind can even come close to making up. There's just no way. But everything is completely upside down. What I've come to find out is that the third dimension is an absolute upside down bizarro world. It is the exact opposite of what is going on out there. And every time that I think that I've reached the end of, okay, my mind has expanded to a certain point and now I understand how things work, as soon as I get to that point, some light being will show up and say, oh, good, you're ready for more. And then it'll just get even more crazy and more bizarre and more mind-bending. And, so I've just given up, expecting that I've reached the end. So I've been through so much transformation, and you've heard me talk about it. And if you've been doing these interdimensional meditations, you've had your own experiences. But as I understand it, what is coming is going to be beyond anything we've experienced. So, and I believe it, because what is happening with the drone scenario and the plasmoids and the UFO and the drones following the UFOs and UFOs supposedly shooting drones out of the sky. This is so bizarre. It proves, for a while I was saying that how incongruous it was in my higher dimensional experiences, and even in my conscious mind, when beings show up and communicate to me, the things that they tell me are so absolutely bizarre. By the way, all completely full of love, that is so totally, completely incongruous with my third dimensional reality that it takes a huge amount of effort to not try and figure it out and to just accept it. And to know that we are on the verge of something even huger, far huger than that. I don't know what to expect. I have some ideas of what's going to happen. I do believe very strongly that there's going to be disclosure, true disclosure, on every level, on all of the things that the dark forces do not want you to know. This is all going to come out. Dr. Greer hints at there's going to be a huge disclosure when it comes to actual disclosure about UFOs and the so-called UFO retrieval program. It's going to be disclosures that will absolutely break everything wide open. So imagine that combined with an energy upgrade for the planet, a reality shift for the planet that is going to be so immense. So I honestly don't know what is coming. All I know is what I've been told recently, as recently as even today, just before I made this video, I briefly went up and said, does anybody want to talk to me? And they repeated the same thing. So when I get a message, more than twice, these beings are really, it always happens. Let me just put it that way. Whenever I get a message, a very specific message, more than twice, it is guaranteed to happen. Exactly the way that they said it. And of course, in ways that I can't imagine. But what I've been recently told is that first, everything is going to change very soon. Like we're on the precipice of absolute huge transformation, like the Earth has never seen in its entire existence. And also, it is having effects, far-reaching effects that go far beyond planet Earth. And the work that we're doing in these meditations, by the way, these live-guided interdimensional meditations, the work that we're doing in those meditations is not just for Earth. When we are done with those meditations, light beings will come to me. Sometimes they are so excited that I can't understand what they're trying to tell me, because they're trying to show me something on a level of a higher dimensional level so huge that it's just impossible for me to comprehend. I can feel the energy, and I can feel their excitement and their gratitude and their joy and their bliss. And I can feel their intense desire for me to understand and see what they see. But it's just more than my 3D brain can process. But there's been a few experiences. One not too long ago. It was after one of these most recent, probably 1 or 2 meditations ago. And if you've been doing these meditations, they've been taking on a huge energy shift. I don't know if you've felt it, but I have. The energy has been shifting higher and higher, going to, much higher frequencies. And we are creating with our intention. I don't even remember, I should probably go back and listen, because I don't even remember what it is we're doing. I'm in such a completely altered state. But I know that we are envisioning other worlds and other realities, and we're creating them. And the message that I got one time is very recently is a light being came to me and said, I want to show you something. I have to show you this. And so I was taken to what looked like another dimension altogether. And what I saw were, like when we look at our galaxies, from afar, and we see these swirling masses of stars and gases, and they're very beautiful. What I saw were galaxies that were being formed, but they were crystalline, like they were diamonds, and they were shining and refracting light like diamonds and crystals. So imagine, instead of stars, you have these incredibly bright, multicolored crystals swirling around each other. And the being said, "You created that. This has never been created in the history of the multiverse. You are doing something absolutely new," meaning we are doing something absolutely new in these meditations. And what is happening, the feeling I get, is every time we do these meditations, it completely rewrites the probability scheme that the light beings are working with. So in other words, the light beings and the multiverse and Earth are shifting. We're moving towards what people are calling the 5D shift. And every time we do these meditations, we ramp everything up to a whole other level, and we create a new probable reality, not just for Earth, but for the entire multiverse. And so the rebirth of Earth means a rebirth for everything and everybody, everywhere. And we don't realize that because we're in our little 3D, mirrored bubble. We don't experience anything outside of this. But what is happening to us and what is happening on Earth is changing everything in every dimension, everywhere. And that makes sense when you think about it, because one of the things that has gotten, the reason why ETs started showing up right around World War II is because we were experimenting with nuclear weapons. And so nuclear weapons explosions, actually rip through the fabric of all the dimensions. So they're destructive to everything. And so on a negative, the things that we do with our energy when we go negative affects everything. So the flip side is also true. When, these kinds of meditations are the equivalent of, nuclear power, the spiritual equivalent. And instead of destroying, it is creating entire new dimensions and galaxies and universes on levels that have never been seen. That's the feeling and the message that I'm getting. And so the shifts that are coming along with that. It's like things are getting pushed up another level. So one of the latest messages I've gotten it 3 times now, assuming that I'm interpreting it correctly. Message that I've gotten, and maybe it's true for you as well, because my experience with light beings is they always talk to you, you alone, like you're the only person that exists. So, but sometimes they're talking about everybody, even though they're talking about you. So this could mean something for everybody. We'll see. But what I was told, I believe, was that there's going to be a huge amount of energy that is going to be downloaded into me, released into me, something like that. And very specifically, that energy would start at my feet and move up towards my head, and it would be immense. And it might be more than I understand or have ever experienced or even know what to do with. And that when that happens, it's a signal. It's a signal that it's time to go into meditation and flip the switch. And then what I've seen is the closest thing I can describe it would be what people have described to be the solar flash. I want to be clear. I don't know if the solar flash is going to happen. As you know, there was a time when I was very certain of it. In fact, I thought that on a specific date it was going to come, and I was ready to leave. I even wrote my landlord a note, taped it to the kitchen counter there in case I disappeared. If somebody came looking for me, they would find the note. That's how much I thought. I was about 85% sure that it was going to happen. Obviously, it didn't. And if I'm honest, I've never been told specifically that there's going to be a one, solar flash event that'll change everything. I would love for that to happen. I meditate for that to happen. I imagine that happening. So maybe we are creating it because we're imagining it. But that's something on that level is coming. And whether it's going to be the solar flash or a solar flash, or whether it's just going to be an awakening event, or I honestly don't know. But something like that is coming. And so when I get these kinds of messages, the truth is I can't envision it. It's always something I can't figure out. And after I've experienced it, I look back in hindsight and go, there's no way I could have, there's no way I could have foreseen that. So really all that's happening is they're saying something beyond your understanding is about to happen in this general way. And so I go, okay. And I don't hold on to it because sometimes they say something's going to happen and they say it's going to happen tomorrow. And it doesn't happen tomorrow. It happens months later. And sometimes they say it's going to happen tomorrow and it does happen tomorrow. So what I've learned to do is just, I log it in there and I go, yep, I've heard you. I've completely expanded into that possibility and accepted it. And now I'm just going to get on with my life. And when it comes, I'll at least know, oh, this was that thing you guys were talking about. So that doesn't catch me off guard. So I'm just sharing that with you. Something like that is coming. It's coming very soon. I don't know. It could be as soon as tomorrow because we have a meditation and I get the feeling it might happen during one of our meditations. So anyway, my suggestion is really take this seriously. And this whole drone UFO thing, here's one of the things I want you to be aware of. I talked about this, but one of the things that narcissistic abusers do is they do this thing where they up the level and then back off and then up the level and back off. And what ends up happening is they do that because that acclimatizes you to the abuse. So any level of abuse, the correct response should be, this is absolutely wrong. This shouldn't be happening. I don't deserve this. This has to stop. But what an abusive person wants to do is get you to the point where, they turn the heat up, they turn it down, they turn the heat up, turn it down, and the base level of the abuse keeps rising. But you are hypnotized into every time that it backs off a little bit, you go, okay, it's going to be okay now. And what that does is it gives you the ability to tolerate an intolerable situation because it's better than it just was. And maybe it will stay better or maybe it'll go away. It never goes away. So, I could be wrong and I'll be the first to admit it if I am, but I don't think this drone plasmoid scenario is going away. I think it's going to increase. And I think people's theories about it and their craziness about it is going to increase. And I think the rhetoric and the narrative is going to get more and more insane. And left to itself, I think it's going to turn into something, like we had 2020. But that doesn't take into account the fact that we are not alone. We're not isolated in our little three-dimensional bubble. We are part of a multiverse. And people like me and you live here. The dark forces don't know that we exist. Those of us that are doing these meditations, we're not on their radar because they're not higher dimensional people. They're aware of higher dimensions, and they are aware that extraterrestrials are higher dimensional beings. They are aware of that, and it frightens them. In fact, it frightens them more than anything. But even though they know about it, they don't understand it. And so they're so deluded they think they can stop a tidal wave with a bucket. That's what they're doing. This whole thing with the drones and the UFOs, that is trying to stop a tidal wave with a bucket. And they honestly believe that they can do something about it. And so what they're doing is they're cracking down on people who are talking in public. They're threatening Dr. Greer, threatening his life, and the whistleblowers that he has, they've all been threatened, or at least there's a threat hanging over their head. And that's the people that they're trying to stop. The people, they're afraid that somebody's going to come out and verbally show you their dirty underwear. But they have no clue that there are human beings, just average third-dimensional human beings who aren't hooked up with the government, who aren't hooked up with media of any kind, that are just average people. They have no idea that we have the power simply with our minds and our intention to bring a tidal wave of transformation. They have no idea that there are people like you and me that are able to tap into our divinity, our higher dimensional God powers. They don't have any clue about what happens in the astral realm. And they have no idea that all somebody has to do is just simply close their eyes, follow the protocol, and they can transform into a deity that has the ability to change the third dimensional matrix from the outside of the program. They're locked into the program. They can't get out. And so they can't even imagine what is coming for them. And they can't even imagine what is already being unleashed on them. So, yeah, these meditations are absolutely changing the world. So anyway, I could go on and on and on, but you are a probability. So that's it. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and keep doing the work. And as long as we're in this 3D thing, I need your help to keep this channel going. This is the worst time of year. People unsubscribe. And I understand, it's that time of year and people don't want to spend money, or they're spending money on all kinds of stuff. So things get a little bit dicey for me when it comes to, keeping myself afloat. So I would really appreciate it if you go to thunderwizard.com, subscribe. The regular subscriptions is what keeps this channel going. The shop purchases are also very important as well. And I also appreciate the tax-free direct support at support.thunderwizard.com. And of course, anytime that you're watching a video or anytime you're at a live stream, you can click on the $ button and you can support the channel that way as well. In any case, my friends, I'm here till the end. This is my karmic duty. This is my dharma, to bring about the 5D Ascension event. And according to my light being friends, I have the ability to do that, which means you have the ability to do that. We have more power even than the light beings do. The light beings, the gods, don't have the power that we have because we live on Earth. And so we have a direct connection energetically. And we have the same ability to create as the gods do. We have the same ability to intend our reality. And the faster that we can accept that, the faster everything will change. But something huge is coming, and we'll find out together what that is. So hope to see you tomorrow night. And you know where to go again if you want to support the channel. That's it, my friends. I love you all. Please take extremely good care of yourselves, and I will see you very soon.